Welcome. It's Monday, 1 p.m., and it's a sports Monday. We've got a lot to talk about today. The show's called Coach's Corner. My partner is out in the street trying to talk himself out of a ticket, so that'll be fun when he comes on the phone. He's not very happy. My partner is the Hall of Famer, Greg Herrick, and sitting with me is a nice young man. He was all-time at West Ranch. He was a basketball player, Ryne Williams, and Ryan wants to get into sports talk radio, and maybe he'll take over the show. Maybe he'll take over my show. Ryan, welcome. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good. So this your first – no, you've been on radio before, right?
I've been on the air before, yes.
Yeah, so this is not your first time. So big show today. If you're driving, you may want to just pull over into a big parking lot, turn up the sound, because we're going to talk about everything. Something that's been bothering me. Well, here he comes. So let's find out if he talked his way out of a ticket or not. I know it was upsetting to see him out in the street.
Freaking volunteers.
Well, get in your microphone here. The show is called Coach's Corner, brought to you by Marty's Flooring. If you're even considering any flooring at all, go over to Marty's. They've been in business for over 40 years here in Santa Clarita. So did you talk yourself out of the ticket?
No, these wannabe police officers. And my son is a police officer. He's going to laugh when I tell him about this.
This is not a laughable matter. That probably just cost you $300.
I told the guy, nobody's getting hurt there. Nobody's in trouble. I didn't have a ticket, a monthly sticker on the back of my license plate. These guys are walking around here in Newhall giving tickets for not having a sticker on my car.
Wait, is a volunteer allowed to give you a legitimate ticket?
Oh, they're writing the ticket.
He's a volunteer.
I thought for a moment he's going to talk his way out. It was real close.
You know what volunteer means?
He ain't getting paid.
Wannabe. That's what volunteer
These guys
means.
were our age.
And the guy starts giving. I go, this is wrong. I said, nobody's getting hurt here. Because I don't have a January sticker on my car. What are you talking about? He goes, this is the right thing to do. I go, it's not the right thing to do. If the shoe was on the other foot, you would not like this.
And you know who just left? Who was on the air was one of the captains. If he had been here for 3 more minutes, you'd have been out of the ticket.
It's crazy. And I said, how much is the ticket? The guy goes, $70. $70.
Yikes.
For a sticker.
I want to hear the conversation with you and Marilyn tonight. But here's the most honest thing, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a radio star, a Hall of Famer, and he can't talk his way out of a ticket.
And then the one guy starts telling me a story. He goes, I'm going to tell you a story that's going to make you feel a bit better. I go, does it ever involve scissors? Because that's the only way I'm going to feel better is if you just tear up this ticket. And he goes, well, I'm not doing that. And I go, well, then I don't want to hear your story.
I could see why you'd be upset. I went out there and fought for you for 10 seconds, and I was close to getting a ticket.
And it was the one guy that was more the one. You know,
yeah, the one guy would.
Ladies and gentlemen, nobody respects law enforcement more than I do. But this is ridiculous. This is why people get upset with parking attendants. And
he did more to hurt.
They had to stop their car.
In the middle of the street.
That little sticker from that far away.
Well, first of all, he's parked in the middle of the street, which was dangerous. But secondly, he did more to hurt public relations. Here we are on live radio, thousands of people listening to KHTS, award-winning radio, and you're right. He could have done more for community service, customer service, and created a fan with you. Now he's created an arch enemy.
And you know, the one guy said, who was writing the ticket, said to the other guy, how much do I write before I can stop? And the guy didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So he wasn't any part of. He was going to give me a ticket.
So sitting next to you is a nice young man, Ryne Williams of West Ranch. Maybe
Ryan, don't put an Oakland Raiders
I want you to be a role model for
thing
him.
On your license.
I want you to be
That's what it was all about.
I want you to be a role model for Ryan, one of Santa Clarita's greatest all-time high school basketball players.
You know what I would do if I wasn't totally angry?
Be a role model.
I'd tear this up right in the guy's face.
Well, you're on YouTube. You could tear it up now on YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is ridiculous.
So if anybody has handcuffs out there, bring them into the station.
You get a ticket for a sticker that's less than an inch in diameter.
And you did.
Are you kidding?
He knows that you paid your registration because it was right on there.
Right.
You need to fight this.
It had 2017 on it.
You need to fight this.
It had 2017
Don't take this lying
on
down.
It. Isn't that the year we're in?
Yes.
He goes, well, it's not. It says January. What does that mean?
It's a sports show. Now it's turning into a legal show. Can you play that clip? Because I've got two gentlemen here. Both of them are patriots. I want to hear what they say about a question that I'm going to ask. Here's the clip. Here's the clip.
Coach, set it up a little bit.
Oh, so Crappy Nick. I can't even think.
Say the guy's name.
Kaepernick.
Coach. Come on.
What's his first name?
Colin Kaepernick.
He's
related to our first guest a little later.
He's not related to anybody you know.
Well, yeah, I'm telling you.
I feel like Coach Herrick has ties to everyone.
Yes.
Everybody. Everybody knows him. So come and have coffee with us at Starbucks.
He's a volunteer sheriff. Still know who I am. or they do know who I am. They did it on purpose.
So we have coffee every morning at Starbucks. Show up at 8:30. We're there from 8:30 to 10 every morning. And maybe 100 police officers come in. Every police officer tomorrow will hear about this.
Hey, Ryan, you know when a referee makes a bad call? That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm getting a T.
You're calling him out on it?
I'm getting a T right now.
You're fired up, Coach.
I am fired up. This is ridiculous.
setup for this.
Oh, and wait a minute. You know what the guy says to me? The city of Santa Clarita thanks you for your donation. That's what he said to me.
I'm surprised you didn't slap him.
No.
I'm surprised I didn't have to go out. I'm surprised Ryan and I didn't go out there and break up.
That's not the appropriate response.
These guys were in their 70s.
They were older than me.
Why are they even?
They're older than you, probably.
Yeah, nobody's older than me.
That's why they're volunteers.
Why were they out there doing it?
Volunteer means wannabe.
Thank you, volunteers, but you made a boo-boo this time. No, you did. You made a boo-boo. I was watching the whole boo-boo, and it's a boo-boo. It's a bad call. Talking about bad calls, we're going to talk about bad calls like last night in the Warriors game, but let me set up the clip. So Colin goes up to Seattle to try out. They need a backup quarterback, and here's what the head coach, Pete Carroll, who I can't stand anyway, says about Colin Kaepernick.
Colin's been a fantastic football player, and he's going to continue to be. At this time, we didn't do anything with it, but we know where he is and who he is, and we had a chance to understand him much more so. He's a starter in this league. We have a starter, but he's a starter in this league, and I can't imagine that somebody won't give him a chance to play.
That's the same thing when a coach or general manager calls you and says, Mr. Herrick, we love the job that you're doing. Even though you've had a horrible season, we love you. We love the job. 2 weeks later, they fire you. So here's my question. Kaepernick, can we forgive him? Here's, if you don't know, and I'd be shocked if you don't know, but it's another interesting story that most people don't even care about sports. But for those of you that you do, he kneeled to the national anthem. He kneeled. And that caused...
Well, as a protest.
Yeah, as a protest.
To the, in his opinion...
And to the inequities.
Yeah, of society towards people of color.
Right. I was opposed from the beginning because, first of all, he was at work. He was on the job, getting paid millions of dollars. What employer would allow an employee to do what he did to begin with? And two, he disrespected the flag. I can never forgive him. I'm sorry.
Well, you are talking about a society that we live in that's politically correct. Is that the right phrase? And
yes,
people don't know how to deal with that. They don't know how to tell people this is not acceptable because you don't want to offend anybody. I believe in the Constitution and your right to protest. I do. But when you're an employee of a company and part of your workplace is to honor the flag, you should honor the flag.
Absolutely.
And
well said on that comment.
And I most businesses would believe the same thing. But the problem with him now is owners don't want to sign him because of the controversy that he brings with him, the baggage. He has said he would no longer do that, which is kind of interesting. Now that he's out of a job, I'm not going to kneel down anymore. But that was my thing last year.
Well, you and I are too aging.
Why wouldn't they think that something else would happen? Here's a league that talks about the length of your socks have to be a certain length. Your uniform has to meet a certain code. You can't even wear different shoes.
Different color shoes with logos on it. But we have two young men in the studio, both in their 20s. I want to get their take on it because you and I are two aging athletes. We grew up with patriotism. We grew up with saluting the flag. Let me start with you, Ryan Williams, one of the greatest basketball players of this city.
In this century.
This century, at West Ranch. I asked you before the show started, do you think that your millennials are as patriotic as we are? And you said,
I said that I think that they aren't. I think that now we're moving in, and I completely agree with Coach Herrick's statement. I thought that Kaepernick, he by all means you have your right to protest, and I think that, but you should never kneel down to the flag. I think that the United States of America has done so much for all of us and so much for our families that you should never disrespect the country in that type of way.
If your mom and dad are listening, you raised a one heck of a
The United
nice
States
young
of
man.
America has given Colin Kaepernick an opportunity to pursue his dream in the NFL. As a father of a son who had a dream to play in the NFL and came very close but didn't make it, he would kill to get that opportunity to play in the NFL.
A lot of people would.
And here's a guy who gets an opportunity to play a game as an adult and get paid millions of dollars, and all you got to do is stand there. You don't have to. Nobody even tells you have to salute. Nobody even tells you have to say anything. You don't have to sing the national anthem. You just have to stand there.
It's just
and
what
he's not willing
yeah,
to do that.
Yeah, just what both of you said. Now, Aaron, our young producer who I love, has also a comment.
I do. And my thing comes down to Colin Kaepernick's utility. Now, if Colin Kaepernick was throwing 4,500 yards a year, 35 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, he'd be snagged up like that. He wouldn't even be on the free agent market.
Well, he had a good year last year
And Colin Kaepernick...
on a bad team.
Did he?
Yes.
Wasn't he replaced by Blaine Gabbert, though?
Well, no,
I didn't
think
follow
it was the other way around. But I think you're right. You're
But
right. It's all about money.
my thing is-
and that's why the owners don't want to hire him, because he's a distraction to their season ticket holders.
Right, and especially what Pete Carroll said. They have a starter, and if he's going to play backup, no team needs a backup that is going to draw headlines like that. And another
Exactly
thing,
correct.
with the national anthem,
And he wants to start. He has mentioned. He said, he probably went up to Seattle and said, "I want to compete with Russell Wilson." Hello.
you can't do that.
He went to the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, Aaron also has another good one. He's got a hefty contract that somebody has to absorb,
that's
too.
right.
So, first of all, his numbers weren't that great. They really weren't. They weren't that great. It's fake news
Yeah,
because he's on a crappy team throwing 80-yard passes.
Before you say he wasn't very good, his passer rating was in the 90s, which is pretty good.
Is that right?
Yes, that is right.
Check on that, Ryan. You're
I looked-
brand new to the show, Ryan, and you got to do this.
And I'm
grunt
just
work.
telling you, he was on a bad team. They didn't win very many games.
So when you're on a bad team, you're throwing 50-yard passes.
You're trying to get touchdowns.
There you go.
And you're coming back from behind.
There you go.
And everybody knows you're going to throw, so the coverage is 5 deep.
All right, I'm done with this. D-Day's tomorrow. I'm done with this. D-Day's tomorrow, so nice segue into
See,
D-Day.
those police officers try to distract me from my mission. And
Here's his ticket.
And I'm looking right at my ticket as it's sitting here on the
Here's his
desk. But
ticket.
I want to make sure that everybody understands that tomorrow, June 6th, today's June 5th, is a commemoration of the D-Day invasion in during World War II, when the Allied powers crossed the English Channel and landed on Normandy Beach, beginning the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi control in World War II. You know what cracks me up about that is when we get all these haters in Western Europe of the United States, they'd all be speaking German if it wasn't for the D-Day invasion. But that's for another day. And I just want to share this with our listeners, that D-Day, people think D stands for demolition or destruction, or D-Day doesn't actually stand for anything. Oh, okay. It stands for day. And it's used in the military to just determine that it's going to be on a certain day, June 6th. So people start making up stuff, talk about fake news, that D-Day meant destruction.
And I'm glad you brought it, because young people, Aaron and Ryne, that are with us, they have really, unless they've studied history, they have no clue as to the incredible life that was lost, the sacrifices that were made for the love of this country. I mean, thousands gave all. Who do we have on? Your son. Oh, John Tunick, welcome.
No, not John. My son.
Not your son.
Well, his son's named Michael.
Yeah. Michael Herrick is on the line.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
Valencia legend, Michael Herrick.
I'm I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing
Hey,
great.
I'm not
so-
very happy with your law enforcement bros.
Yeah, so
here in
let me
Santa
tell the story
Clarita
because
about
your
5
dad,
minutes ago.
the blood pressure in your dad's rising. So we have a window. If you ever come in the studio, we have a window. We can see outside, and your dad's fancy Lexus is parked in the number 1 spot. We both look out, and I said, "You're getting a ticket." He jumps out. He runs outside. I run out behind him. And I say, "What are you guys doing?" He says, "We're writing a ticket." I said, "For what?" And then you go ahead, explain.
And he says to me, "Bad doesn't have the right sticker on the license plate." And I
For
go,
the month-
"It
for the
says."
month of
I go, "We're in
registration."
2017. It says 2017." And the guy goes, "But it says January." So he gave me a ticket for having the. I still don't know
You
how.
know, Michael is yawning right now.
And I told him, I said, "You would laugh if I told you. Have you ever given a ticket for a bad sticker?"
Yes.
Oh, don't ever come home again.
Your son is
Do
yawning.
not ever come home again. Your stuff's on the porch.
All right, let's welcome Michael Herrick properly to the station. This kid, Michael Herrick, was number 1 in the state. Think about, ladies and gentlemen, take a pause here. Thousands and thousands of high school quarterbacks came through the state of California. He was number 1 all time, 3-time All-Foothill League, 2-time All-CIF Southern Section, 2004 Football League co-MVP, 2004 won the league championship, 2-time SCV Signal Player of the Year. He was a finalist in 2005 for Mr. Football, Most Outstanding Player in the state of California, and is the starting QB for California team in 2006. He was in the Cal Florida Bowl. Who won that? Tebow was the quarterback for Florida. You were the quarterback for who won that game between California and Florida?
They did. Florida did. It was a great week. All week of practice, sunny California, and then the day of the game, we were going to have an air raid attack against them, and it was raining and muddy, and our game plan went out the window. So.
All right, let me finish your introduction.
Tebow-
You spent
yeah,
2
Tebow
years
runs
at
a
Ole
little bit
Miss.
of-
He gets drafted, ladies and gentlemen, to one of the most prestigious colleges in the Southern SEC. 2 years at Ole Miss. 17 of his teammates went on to play in the NFL. Michael, incidentally, played in professional football in Europe. He transferred to Northern Arizona in 2008, played in the 2008, 9, and 10 season. All-time career leader. I can go on and on. This thing is reads like a dictionary, but welcome to KHTS Radio. We have a minute before we go to break, but when we come back, I want to spend some time with you and find out a little bit about football, because your dad truly is an expert, the Hall of Famer in basketball. I'm more of an expert in football. Ryan Williams, what are you an expert in?
Basketball.
Basketball? Okay.
The greatest sport ever invented. But that's for another day.
Michael, I know you played baseball, so I want to come back and talk to you a little bit about baseball, a little bit about football, and, of course, just a tiny little bit about basketball. We'll be right back. The show is called Coach's Corner with the Hall of Famer Coach Greg Herrick, and I'm your host, Coach Ron Tunick. Of course, I have a show every Tuesday. Hopefully you'll tune in tomorrow, where I have on your friend, Gary
Peterson
on tomorrow. We're talking about transitions. We'll be right back.